Okay. Hello, welcome to ATP Health Hackers. First of all, I want to thank you so much for making our first video go viral. Can you believe that? Our first video, we went viral.
Yeah.
My name is Tina.
I'm Alexis.
And today we're going to talk about, tell them.
Basically not a one size fits all for health. So.
Absolutely.
Have you ever thought about when, keto became like a huge thing and your friend did really well and, you just didn't so much?
Yeah, like Alexis and I, my husband lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And I had many girls that came through the gym, lost 20, 30, 40, 50, but guess what? Her and I,
we gained it all.
We gained 5 pounds.
Eating bacon every day.
Cheese, it all sounded so good, but it wasn't a fit for us.
No.
Okay.
So that's kind of our inspiration of what we're going to talk about today. So.
Yes. Being in the gym that I opened here in 1998, when I first opened, I was in my 30s. So fitness, health, there was many trends that we all followed. I was doing those kick butt, boot camps. And then every decade you have to reinvent yourself and do what is best for your people that you have then. So in the 30s, it was like boot camps, kick butt workouts. Spinning was so hard that they would run next door and tell my husband, like, you got to tell your wife to slow down. I feel like I can't keep up with her feet. I was making it almost impossible for people to enjoy it. And then you start to reinvent yourself. You start to think like, okay, let's make this work for people. Now we're in our 40s, 50s. I'm in my 60s now. So my clients are, anywhere from age 50 to 80. Mm-hmm. Even some of you are watching my mom, who's never worked out. So it's what's right for each person. What workout is best for each person, what food connections are best for each person. Some people follow gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan, which I don't. My friend asked me the other day what my thoughts were on the carnivore diet. I shared my thoughts, and I just thought, the one thing I want people to understand is, and Alexis can speak to this, is before you start any plan or program, first of all, we're not diagnosing, we're not telling you what you should do, but we're just going to give you the tools of where you should begin. So she can speak to blood tests, the importance of blood testing, and knowing where you're at, knowing your numbers, and that all numbers are not going to be equal for each person. So Alexis, talk a little bit about what you think about when someone comes to you and says, where do I begin? I'm tired. I want to lose weight. Where would you tell them as a nurse? What would you tell them?
Well, there's a lot of different aspects and kind of avenues that we can explore. First, I always like to kind of implement one thing at a time. That way you actually know what is effective. So you can even go to my mom for epigenetics, which is a hair, skin, and nail analysis. And that actually can tell you what's causing inflammation in your body. Or you can do it through like a blood test and see if you're deficient or lacking. And you can also do through hormones. Hormones affect every aspect of your body. You can also incorporate gut health, but the most important is to start with one place. The phrase KISS, keep it simple, stupid, really kind of is in all areas of life.
All areas of life. It's so true.
Making one simple change at a time.
Sorry, that's okay.
That's okay. One, you can see its effectiveness, and if it's not, then you can move on to the next modality. Two, it's not so overwhelming to make just one change at a time. Three, with not being so overwhelming, something you can actually stick to. Like last year, what change did we make last year?
We decided to use only glass. That was one of the changes.
Yes. And so
everything, containers at home, drinking glasses. Alexis even purchased through, was it Sparklets?
Yes.
Sparklets. We have a glass water bottle. I I'm gonna tell the truth. I still drink out of plastic water bottles here. She does carry around. Do you have that one with you?
I didn't
We're
today.
not doing any commercials
The
or anything,
mountains,
but the
Mountain Valley
spring
water.
It's delicious, but I do get lazy and I have it up front and it doesn't actually fit in my refrigerator that I have here at Spin. So I do get lazy at that. But like she said, just making that one little change. We never heat up in plastic in the microwave. All of my containers are glass. And I think we did that 2 years ago. This year, I think we were working on salt.
No, the first thing that we ever did, well, more so me, was coffee creamer.
That was
I
a big
love
change. That was really this year. We kind of moved into that this year.
Coffee Mate.
Yeah.
But it's like full of chemicals, so we actually switched to Chobani, which is nice. Their creamer literally only has three ingredients. That's another note, I guess.
Yes.
But going back to making one change at a time, it's also cost effective, right? You don't want to, throw everything out. You can just make those little simple changes. It's not as expensive. But if you start in the great place, then it's also not costly as well.
So that's why I wait, watch. So how we can help you to kind of do what we're doing is, anybody out there, I'm challenging you to do, this is our health hack for this week.
Yes.
And also, this is something I've done with my clients for 30 years. Even going back to before I had Spin, I used to go to people's houses and prepare their menu for them. I'd even cook for them and help them from A to Z. And the first thing I did with them was I asked them to keep a journal. And the journal's evolved. So this now current journal, what I'm going to ask you to do is 3 things. 1, you're going to keep track something mental, okay? What I mean by that is, I'm a morning person. I know that about myself. I wouldn't ever want to go do a workout in the nighttime. I would never want someone to ask me a question after 5:00 p.m. I would never want to go do my emails at 5 o'clock, but I know at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., those are my times. My favorite time to walk is 5:00 a.m. I walk for an hour and I love it. I do my prayer time. I am definitely a morning person. Second is physical. Mark how you feel after you've had the meal that you had. Write down your meals from beginning to the end of the day. Include anything you put in your mouth: gum, medications, vitamins, and Alexis can speak about medications. Medications, vitamins, gum, coffee, drinks, all of it. Keep track of everything. And then the most important part is how you felt after it, okay? And then spiritual. So spiritual could be different for everybody. So I'm a Christian. You guys know that I'm a believer. So for me, my morning time with Jesus starts my day. I feel like you get a chance to reset every morning, and I consider that a perfect day. Now, I could leave the door, cuss out my neighbor that backed into me or something, but I get a reset, okay? So spiritual. I tell my clients that are spiritual, write down your favorite scripture of the day, kind of meditate on that scripture throughout the day, and that's what I ask them to do. But whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in, you can do what works for you. But I want you to find a way that gives you purpose and fulfillment. So in saying that, just do 3 days. Keep track of 3 days, and then we want you to email it to us. We have our own email now. Yes. Alexis, what's the email?
Alexis at ATP Health. Alexis at atp-health.net. Sorry.
Okay. So we'll actually put that on our notes on our YouTube channel that also just was approved. Yes. So we will have a YouTube channel, and our first episode is going to be called
No One Size Fits All.
ATP Health Hackers.
Yes.
Okay.
But at the end of that 3-day journal, though, after you're submitting it to us, we want to make one goal, one change, so that way when we're analyzing it, we can incorporate that one change and kind of go from there. That's what we're building on. I think the actual purpose really of this ATP Health Hacker is to make your life the most optimal it can be in all aspects. So
yes, and what I learned too is what I like to tell people, because we're going to talk a lot about food, we're going to talk a lot about nutrition. We're going to talk a lot about medications. If everyone can stick to foods that are 3 ingredients
Yes.
or less, okay?
I was going to talk about that with that Chobani, but we got a little sidetracked. But
So
yes.
just know we're going to have to refocus. I do have notes that make myself refocus because I can start talking about a subject that nobody wants to know about. But the most important part of this, what I really wanted to stress to everyone, that a positive change that you can make for yourself is, you know, I love what's going to be happening this year with MAHA and all that. Depending on whatever your politics are, it doesn't matter. But to make sure that you're understanding the ingredients that you're taking in your body.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have chemicals. So if you're having processed foods and it has more than 3 ingredients, kind of double think that.
And if you read the ingredient and you don't know what the word even is and you have to look it up, sometimes like sugar can be like sucrose or whatever in their chemical name. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all those like long, tired, like even with pharmaceuticals, like when you can't pronounce it, gotta look it up.
Yes.
That's probably a no-go.
Yes. So, and also Alexis brought up epigenetics. That's one of my most favorite things that I incorporated, I think 3 or 4 years ago in Spin. Everyone is so different, so we keep talking about how everybody, no one size fits all. I've ran, I think, 75 epigenetics tests in the last 3 years, and you get 12 choices of foods to avoid, and then they tell you foods to incorporate. Not one person's epigenetic report has ever been the same.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes I've even had challenges with it, and I've had to consult with experts on some things that have came in there in the report, because the report also talks about chemicals that you're ingesting. So if this might be in someone's body, it'll actually tell you how to detox from it. But if I didn't understand the chemical, it was something I've never seen before, I will consult a person who's considered an expert. An expert would be over 100,000, 10,000 hours, I think, makes you expert. Like I'm an expert at spin, I'm an expert at training, I'm an expert at walking. I have the 10,000 hours. I'm an outlier in those things. In epigenetics, I do not consider myself an expert. So I do consult, I do ask. Also with epigenetics, which I love because it's really important about what we're talking about right here.
I guess time out. Let's actually say what the test is.
Okay, so epigenetics is a hair skin analysis. You take hair from the back of your neck. When we do it, we actually have directions exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we even brought it up, I'm not trying to sell you anything, is the reason why, you know, when you're trying to take somebody and help them who's coming to you from scratch, and they might have a body full of inflammation, they might be full of pain, they might not be able to sleep at night. You know, we'll start with hormones, blood test, and epigenetics. Those are the 3 things that we like to use. The epigenetics test is the hair skin analysis test. It will tell you foods to avoid. It also tells you about technology. So like you can make a simple change of having your technology not close to your bed. It's 33 pages long. It's not just about food. So the one size fits all, I've learned a lot about that over the last, even though I know nobody's the same, nobody's insides are the same. When you look at an epigenetic report, you can really see like, we're not the same. We may look the same. People say she's my mini-me, but we're like, we couldn't be more night and day. Even preparing for this podcast, her idea is totally different than my idea. But we're going to combine the 2 ideas and give you guys something that's really powerful. And we will get better each podcast. So the reason why we came up with this podcast, by the way, was that was the most asked question. They wanted to know, like, how do you know where to start? How do you know which diet to do? And we don't. But we're going to tell you, we will help find what one is best for you.
Yeah.
Because like her and I didn't do good on keto.
No.
But my husband rocked it. He lost 100 pounds. You know? So everyone's going to be different.
And I think, so like what's best for me is my most ideal is when I really only eat like one really good meal in the day and then kind of just a couple little snack meals here and there. I don't do well with eating 3 meals, and I know there are people out there that say you have to eat breakfast, you have to have lunch, you have to have dinner, and there is great science behind that, there is truth behind that, but it's not true for everybody. Yes. Like even with the epigenetics, one of her clients who eats really clean, really healthy, only had, I think, ground turkey and rice every day.
Yeah.
Which is very healthy, but it ends up that that turkey and rice, or it was just the turkey, I think, was actually causing the inflammation. And when she switched to chicken or ground beef or whatever, she actually dropped like what, 10, 15, 20 pounds?
Because it was mostly water. Yeah.
So
and inflammation is what causes people pain.
Yeah.
And we have learned from our mentor that pain tells you something's out of order.
Yeah.
So like if you're having pain and you're not sleeping correctly, you're not eating correctly, you're not incorporating an exercise program, then you're out of order.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here to tell you how to be in order.
Yeah.
It's my favorite subject, by the way, is order. So that could be
That could be.
a whole podcast in itself about order. And you can't complain about what you permit. So if you don't make the change, then you can't complain about it anymore.
Yes.
We're here to help you. We'll answer any of your questions. We want you to write into our email, which we'll upload correctly because we don't know. I don't even know. So you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you. Subscribe. As we will be having a subscription channel. Like, share, comment, question. Even if you have any,
well, whoever
what's the word when you don't like something? What's the word?
Yeah, you could be critical.
Yes,
you can criticize. As a matter of fact, someone already criticized us last week. They told us they wanted to see us both in the picture. I was kind of falling off all the time. That was one of the criticisms. But I didn't even get to tell you, we were melting. It was 100 degrees outside. The first take, we did like 2 or 3 takes. I looked really nice, and then by the 3rd take, I was like, oh my God, I was melting. So,
but I don't think they care about that. So.
No, but I want to explain why, why that happened. Anyway, we're going to be silly too, because we are silly.
Yes.
But we love you, we thank you, and thank you. We went viral. We're so excited.
Yeah, and tune in to our next episode
next week.
Love you. Bye.